This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Crystal, have you ever been inspired by a pigeon?
No. And at first I was like, wait a minute, you mean pig Latin? I'm pigeon-toed. That is how I walk.
Bristol yes. K. Ammon Hay.
Yes, OJ. Oh, don't cut me.
Wow.
Just kidding.
If the rhyme fits, you must have quit. I don't know.
Look at us.
On today's show, Rome, Pompeii, Venice, and the islands of Murano and Burano, all because of a pigeon. We'll explore all of them today through the eyes of Adventure Annette, who's going to join us in just a moment.
Yay, we're so excited to have Annette too. So listen, you guys, we want to hear your stories too. And at the end of this episode and every episode, you will hear our Gear of the Day pick. That's because if you're looking for best-in-class gear that is worth the price, head to our Amazon page. It's stackingadventures.com/GOTD. You'll help the show and help yourself adventure better and for less money.
Ready for adventure? From vacation to staycation and from the mountains to the beach. This is the Stacking Adventures podcast.
Welcome back to the Stacking Adventures podcast, everybody. This is where we head around the world with our adventure community. Every adventure has a story, and we hear them all each week, Crystal.
Yeah, and we love hearing not only from ourselves, but obviously from you. And I'm so mad. Joe, do you ever, as soon as I sit down, I get so comfy, my water's by the fridge.
Do you have to go get it while I introduce our guest?
No,
Okay.
I'll be thirsty.
For 45 minutes, you'll be thirsty. That's the commitment she has to the show Adventures.
Yes.
That's the commitment right there. And we are so excited because this show is all about our community. By the way, if you have stories about Italy, share them with us. Either join our brand new Facebook group.
Yes.
The Stacking Adventures Clubhouse. Just put that in on Facebook and it'll pop up and we will approve you. Or send us your voicemail and you'll have 5 minutes to tell your story. StackingAdventures.com/mystory or StackingAdventures.com/voicemail. Crystal, you ready to meet the guest?
I am. What's behind door number 3? I picked door number 3.
Here she is. Adventure Annette is with us. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, Annette, we're super excited that you're here, but we're most excited to hear how the hell did a pigeon start this whole trip to Italy?
Well, a pigeon, let's see, in 2019, we went to Spain and my son was 5 years old at the time and he had never seen pigeons before and he just fell in love with them. And every time he needed to walk a little bit more, we said, oh, there's a pigeon up there. And he'd run to the pigeon.
Mind control. That's a good trick.
Yeah. And then so years went by and he still loved pigeons. And then in 2022, in the spring, we decided we were going to travel again to Europe, or not necessarily to Europe, but just travel again. And we didn't know where to go. So we asked our son, who is 8, well, what do you want to see? Where do you want to go? And he said he wanted to see pigeons. So, of course.
So you took him to your neighborhood park.
Well, yeah, I wish we could, but I live in a small little town and we don't have pigeons.
Yeah, it's like, where do you live that there are no pigeons?
We live in Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And we'd have to drive a couple hours to a city to see pigeons.
Annette's geographically challenged. She doesn't know that there's places with pigeons closer than Italy. Well, actually, that inspired it, but you must have had other reasons you wanted to go to Italy as well.
We did, yes. We wanted to see the Colosseum and everything. But fun fact, we Googled the city with the most pigeons in the world, and it's Venice, Italy. It has more pigeons than people.
I remember.
I'm gonna Google what has the most single men in the world. Sorry, go ahead.
And that's why she's like, see ya. I'm out of here. Not making the next recording. You know, what's funny is I got up one day at about 5:45 in the morning when we were in Venice, and I walked over to St. Mark's Square, and there was nobody there except me, a bunch of pigeons, and two people. There was a photographer and this woman in this gorgeous wedding dress, and they were using the emptiness of St. Mark's Square to make this beautiful, you know, I don't know if they were doing some type of photo shoot. I think it was for a magazine, but it was so wild to be in the middle of Venice with just 5 bajillion pigeons.
Well, that's a good insider tip. If you want to find that square empty, it's 5 a.m. because I did not see that square empty at all.
I know you got to go really, really, really early to get it empty. So, Annette, before we talk about Italy, you did something interesting around getting there that saves you a ton of money. And I think it's not just for your trip to Italy. Tell us how you got there.
Oh, we flew from Toronto to Italy.
And boy, your wings were tired. But from Toronto, but you just said you live in you live by Pittsburgh, right?
We do. We live by Pittsburgh, but with the exchange rate in our favor, and they also gave direct flights, and they were in general cheaper, we saved about 50% per ticket.
Wow.
Per ticket.
Mm-hmm. So it was a 5-hour drive, but I did some math, and we couldn't get a direct flight from Pittsburgh. And even with the 5-hour drive, it would have taken longer, plus double the price. So we made the drive.
Annette, I love that you said to do the math. The math will definitely tell you the best way to do something.
Well, and I remember this goes along. It's very congruent with what Adventure Annette said when we were talking about Ireland, where she did a domestic flight to New York, remember? And then she did a separate flight from New York because she found out that international flight out of New York was going to be cheaper. And by pairing 2 tickets together, she was able to get a lower price. But also just checking airports that are around you 5 hours away. We're doing something similar in that when we go this year to Greece. We're driving 5.5 hours to Austin to get a flight, and we saved so much money by driving to Austin. It was well worth it. So you make the flight and you're in Italy. Where did you go first?
We flew into Rome, so we were in Rome first.
And give us paint a picture of Rome for people that haven't been there.
Rome was very walkable. I expected to use public transit the whole time, and we found out we didn't. We did stay in the center. We spent more money on a hotel. And everything was within 10 or 15 minute walk from us. So that was amazing. All the main attractions, except the Colosseum, it was on another side of the town. But everything else was right close to us. The Parthenon, famous Trevi fountain. And the fountains were the highlight of our time in Rome. I did not realize they have water fountains all throughout the city, and they're drinkable, and it's actually some of the best drinking water in the world. And my son loved that, and all 3 of us, I went with my husband, myself, and my son, and we loved searching for all the different fountains.
So you mean like a classic, like turn a little spigot, bend over and drink it, or they had these fancy high-tech fill your water bottle with filtered water? Fancy
high-tech fountains. Nice. Everyone was different. Some were made out of, I don't know what the Trevi fountain is. Is it marble, Travestine?
It's got to be, yeah.
Travestine.
Some were made out of that, and others were metal, and it's always running. Nice. So you don't like turn it on. It's just flowing like a spring.
And it's incredible. Here's one of the oldest, you think of Rome, you think ancient. And yet you've got drinkable water running throughout. Just absolutely. It was one of the more bizarre things, Annette, that I thought when I went to Rome.
Yeah. And apparently they used the ancient aqueducts, the original ducts.
Wow.
Yeah. For these fountains. They still use it. And
I love the advice to walk, by the way. And I'm going to turn that from what happened in your experience to solid advice. Because when we went to Rome too, we walked everywhere. I don't know about you, Crystal. Did you guys walk?
Well, I went to Milan and Venice and hop on, hop off bus and walking. That was the best.
Gotcha. So you didn't do Rome.
Nope.
Okay. Now, we have a group here in Texarkana called Downtown Texarkana that was really trying to revitalize our downtown area, which when we moved here was very, very dead. And they did a really good job, but they got super scientific. And there's a great book called The Walkable City. And in that book, it talks about what people like and what they don't like when you walk. And I'll give you an example of what they don't like that's surprising. You know, the U.S. city in the Midwest that was built on a grid, right, to make it easy to know where you're at every point in time. People don't like that for walkability. It's way too boring. It's way too rote. There's nothing exciting about it. In Rome, the streets flood all the time. If there's a little bit of rain, I don't know if it rained in that when you were there, but when it rains, you're up to your ankles in water because the system is ancient. The sidewalks sometimes are almost non-existent. Sidewalks in some places are really, really dirty. If it has rained recently, it's going to be muddy. And yet Rome always ranks either number one or close to number one on walkable cities. And the reason is this city is like a freaking maze. I feel like you turn a corner in that. I don't know about you, but I turned a corner and here's this wonderful square that I didn't expect with all this activity and this life going on. And then there's a little narrow alley and then another square and or a big street. I was always amazed by what was around the next corner.
Yeah, I found that too. And you can't see ahead because the streets are narrow and the buildings are tall. And so you're just walking and you turn a corner and it is just vast open and a sea of people.
Yeah. Walk everywhere as much as you possibly can. Now you mentioned the Colosseum. How did you like the Colosseum? Is that on the must hit list? I would think it would have to be.
For sure on the must hit list. We spent one day there. I easily could have spent 2 days.
At the Colosseum just by itself.
Easy. Yes.
What is it about the Colosseum that makes it take so long to get through? Because, people see this, this big round thing. Okay, I look, it's like a stadium. Okay, thank you.
It is huge. It is, I don't know, a few city blocks large, the Colosseum itself. And then there's grounds around it that also have a lot of history. I don't remember what it was called, something Hill. And to explore all of that. And we kind of rushed that part and it was very hot and there's no shade. We were there in the middle of the summer. We easily could have spent another day there. And we did the guided tour, but it only shows you about half of the Colosseum. We missed the arena itself, and you can also get a special ticket to the underground portion.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How much did the regular ticket cost? Do you remember?
It was $55.
Ish, $55. Okay. What about for the 8-year-old? Less for kids?
I don't remember. It was less.
Yeah.
He may have even been free.
That's another question too for an 8-year-old. Some of these antiquity sites, was he digging the antiquity sites or did he get bored?
He did get bored, but he lasted longer than we thought he would. Everything is very interesting to look at. And he had the audio guide too. So we ran around to things he enjoyed. And he did great. We were there for probably 6 or 7 hours. And he only asked to leave a couple times.
I think the Forum is not that far from the Colosseum, is it?
It's not.
Did you go to the Forum as well? How did you like that, if you did?
We didn't go. We could see it. But we did have to miss it. We didn't have enough time.
We spent very little time at the Forum. I felt like that was a spot. You talk about the Colosseum, that's a spot where I could have spent a lot more time. If I go back to Rome, I'm definitely going to do much more with the Colosseum next time.
Yeah. yeah, we definitely want to go back there.
Fantastic. Is this Mr. 8-year-old right here?
This is Leonidas.
Leonidas. Hi.
Hi.
All right. Well, while you're here, you mind being our guest star?
Sure.
So your mom said on your trip to Italy, it was pigeons that inspired the trip. Did you get to see a lot of pigeons when you went to Italy?
Yes.
Okay. Which cities did you see more pigeons in?
I don't know. Do you remember Rome and Venice? Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're talking about the Colosseum right now. Did you like the Colosseum?
Yeah, it was neat how they built a gift shop inside of it.
Nice.
That's my 8-year-olds would
I
like
like
too.
the gift shops. Yeah. Did you buy anything? That's my part.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Did we have the Colosseum? Yeah, we did.
We bought magnet.
Okay.
We buy fridge magnets where we go.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I do something similar. I get stickers for my luggage. So always get a little luggage sticker. Okay. So the Colosseum, you mentioned that it was July when you went. What do you think about going in the middle of summer? Because everything I read is it can be like the face of the sun in Rome in July.
Yeah, I bet it would.
It was so hot. I actually don't recommend going in the summer. I thought it would be a little bit more dry based on the vegetation on the pictures, but no, it was very humid, and a cold day was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was hot.
Yeah. When we went the first day we got there, it was 103. We went the first week of July ourselves, and it was 103 degrees to your point. We got very lucky, though. There was a cold front, so it was in the high 80s the rest of the week.
Bye.
You mentioned the fountains. Let's go back to the fountains for a second. You had the Trevi Fountain. What about there's a fountain at the end of the Spanish Steps, I think you wrote us, that you really liked.
Yes, there was. I forget what it's called, but it is at the base of the Spanish Steps. And that one is really fun to drink out of because you don't need to just fill a bottle. You can actually climb onto the fountain. There's a little platform, and it allows you to drink directly from one of the spouts coming out. Yeah, and everyone forms a line, and we all take our turn and drink off of the fountain. It's fun.
What did you think? Describe the Spanish Steps to people that haven't been there. What's that like?
It really is just a bunch of steps in between buildings.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't count them, but it's maybe 3 stories worth of steps.
It's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
But it's funny in that because based on the way you said that, we turned the corner. I'm like, oh, it just is steps. These are just steps. But it did feel like a really cool place to hang out.
It was a very cool place to hang out. And I admit, I did not walk on them. It was too hot. I'm like, no way. My husband walked up to the top and we stayed at the bottom and played in the fountain.
Yeah.
What about, let's talk about, Italy and food. When you were in Rome, what did you eat? Was it expensive to eat in Rome? Was it not expensive?
Compared to the U.S., I did not find it expensive. I think a dinner in an average restaurant was probably about 15 to 20 euros a person.
Wow.
I would consider it cheap.
Yeah, yeah. And the food?
The food, it was good, but I didn't love it. I expected to love it, and it was perfectly fine, but it was bland. I don't know. They don't use garlic.
I felt the same way because when I was reading your answers, I was like, oh my God, I felt the exact same way. It was bland. I think they didn't even put a lot of veggies in the pasta sauce. But then the highlight, though, was the bread. I was like, I don't know how they do so bad at the food, but the bread was everywhere I went, bread was the main event for me.
Same. The bread was amazing. Pizza was good because that bread was good. And I loved going to all the different sandwich shops and cafes and even in grocery stores. And the bread was amazing.
Yep.
Oh, but there's one more question. Come on. Did you eat the gelato?
We did eat plenty of gelato. And that was excellent.
I had so much freaking gelato every day. I'm like, oh, we haven't had gelato yet. Our day's not over unless we have the gelato. We have to.
Gelato adds up, though.
It does.
Too.
It does add up.
It's not cheap.
No.
Well, and wine too.
Well, good point. Yeah, and it's not either or, Crystal. It's both, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I hear the music coming up, and that means that we are at the halfway point already. I feel like we just got started. This is the part of the show where we're at our pit stop halfway through. And the pit stop, you're always dreaming about what's at the end of your adventure. How cool is it going to be when we get there? Well, I'm ready to head to Italy right now. Our pit stop is always a hint at the gear of the day that we're going to share at the end of today's episode. You can see past gear of the day at stackingadventures.com/gear of the day. And that page is getting super badass. There's some great gear there. All right, Crystal, what's our hint about today's gear?
Okay, first I want to say hi to Alicia that's in the chat. She's great catching us live. Then I followed up with a corny joke of glad you were wearing your baseball gloves. Haha, to catch. No? All right.
She's here all week, Alicia.
Anyway, so our clue. Okay. What's a good clue? Okay, so you would want to take this when you're traveling because it's not quite weather related. Yeah, it's weather related. It's weather related. Looks related. I don't want to give away too much.
Looks related
and weather related.
Do we want it when it's hot or when it's cold? Or when it's rainy? Or when it's snowy?
It works for all of those situations, actually.
Oh, crap.
For all of the above. The answer is D, all of the above.
Hot, cold. I don't know, Annette. Any ideas? Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Annette and I are going to think about it. Okay. We're going to have a guess in just a second.
Let me go get it. Oh, I knocked it out of the park. Thank you, Alicia. She liked my joke.
I'm Serena Williams, and I'm healthier on Ro. I've lost 34 pounds in a year with GLP-1s, diet, and exercise. On Ro, you can access GLP-1 options, including the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. Go to ro.co/journey to see if you qualify. 14 to 20% average weight loss in 1 year in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with a weight-related medical condition versus 2.2% to 3.1% in placebo arm. RX only. To stay informed about serious side effects, go to ro.co/safety.
All right, so Crystal, your clue was horrible, number one.
Thank you.
Just absolutely
I take
rotten.
Pride in that.
Weather related, doesn't matter if it's hot, cold, rainy, snowy, but it's weather related. I don't know, Annette.
I have a guess.
Yeah.
Do it.
I am going with wool socks.
Oh, no, but that's a great guess because that was Joe's item one time.
You're not supposed to tell us if they're right or wrong yet.
Oh, oops.
How long have you been doing this show, Crystal?
Were you going to guess the same thing?
No, we do have some wool socks already in the Gear of the Day spot, which are excellent. And by the way,
spoiler alert.
To your point, Annette, it doesn't matter. You're right. Wool socks is very comfortable no matter what the deal is.
I know, I almost spoiled it.
I'm going to go with one of those. There's that bandana thing that has like moisture on it and can, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
There's like a weather control thing. You can either put it around your head or you can put it around your neck.
Is it like that fan thing?
Well, this is like a piece of fabric almost. Oh. And it just literally goes over. So if it's cold, if it's hot out, you could go to one of those fountains, dip it in the water, and then wring it out and put it around your neck. And it's made to keep you cool for a long time. Or you can have it wear it like a scarf as well, and it'll keep you warm like a scarf. But anyway,
that might be it.
Yeah, that probably is it. There's no way in hell that's it. But we'll find out if I was super lucky.
At the end.
To finally get from Crystal's amazing clue.
I love our baseball chat though. In the chat, our baseball reference. We have a whole. Can't wait till the home run. All right, go for it.
Got a whole. What are we talking about?
The YouTube. So the people that are watching live.
Yes.
We keep going. baseball references.
Well,
she said
gotta...
I knocked it out of the park.
Well, now they're making fun of our foul balls.
Yeah, that's right. And they get more foul by the second. All right. Let's move on. Before we move on, speaking of moving on to Venice, I'd like to ask you just about the planning of this trip, because I know when we were setting this up, Annette, you plan trips a little bit differently than a lot of the adventures we've had on. Talk to us generally about your planning.
We plan as little as possible. We pick a flight in, a flight out. In this case, it was in the same place, Rome, but sometimes we leave a different spot. And then we book the first 3 nights accommodations, and then we figure it out. And our trips are usually about 2 weeks long.
Only the first 3 nights?
Only the first 3 nights.
So the rest of the nights are serendipity. What if you can't find something?
Then we go somewhere else. But we've never had that happen.
That would give my stomach a little too much flutter. I don't know that I could do that.
Exciting. It's like, so the key reason we do it, we were in Greece and we thought we had a plan. And then once we were there, we Google searched different things to do and completely different results came up. So we're like, oh, and then we wanted to do the things that they suggested, or we spoke to people and said, no, you should do this. So we actually changed our plans and we just didn't show up to our reservations and we changed our plans completely. And then we said, why don't we try this again? And we've done it ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. But you still got to hit all the highlights that your family wanted to see. Like everybody has their thing. Everybody gets to make sure they see their thing.
Yes. Before we go, we choose our destination, and then each person in the family gets to pick one must see or do, and we hit that up. And then everything else, we figure it out, and we just book trains the day before. We spend our evenings planning what are we going to do the next day and our next few nights. And we just book hotels from there. And it's actually cheaper because I looked at hotel prices and they're around $150 to $200 a night when you book them from the US. But then once you're in Italy, every single night after those first 3 nights, we're between $50 and $60 a night.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth getting a VPN if you really want to plan and set it to the country you're in or the city you're going to be in. But it was vastly different, the prices.
I've heard of people doing that, but that went over my head. But now that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. See, that's why I like that we talk about this, because if I read this in like a travel forum, it wouldn't make as much sense if you're like saying, oh, this is how you did it.
Flights within Europe were even cheaper.
Yeah.
Because we flew from Naples up to Venice on a one-way ticket, and we paid about 20 euros each.
Wow.
Shut up.
Yeah.
No,
it was
don't
cheaper
shut
to
up.
fly
Wow.
than to take a train.
Huh.
Yeah, I took the train when we went.
Me too, the little speed train.
Yeah. We took the train everywhere else because we did travel. We went from Rome to Naples to Venice to Florence and then back to Rome.
Let's very briefly touch on something else. You also went to Pompeii. I know a lot of people when they go to Rome, they're like, should I do the day trip to Pompeii or not? Would you do the day trip? Would you recommend it?
Highly recommend. Yes.
How come?
It was such an interesting experience to see into a world that it was a natural disaster that they did not rebuild. And it was not a happy experience, but it was still, I recommend it. It wasn't depressing either. And it was really neat to see all the different homes that people lived in, and a lot of, like, you couldn't see how, because there was a volcano and the ash preserved everything and everyone. And so they had removed everyone, and those are in different museums. And I expected to see a little bit more of that. And there was a little bit of it in the entrance, and that was it. but it was just this giant empty city to explore. And there's an audio guide, and it explained how people lived. And yeah, we loved it.
How did you get out there?
We actually took the train to Naples and spent a couple days there. And from Naples, it was only about an hour train ride.
Gotcha. Okay. We couldn't figure out the timing of Pompeii when we were there. So we did a trip that some people will do out of Rome. It's about an hour was the public bus system, literally the city bus system. We went to Ostia Antiqua. And that was the old Roman port back when there was a waterway that went right into Ostia Antiqua. So there was the city proper, and then their port, and Ostia Antiqua was that, and it was very preserved. And a lot of people compared it to Pompeii. I've never been to Pompeii, so I don't know the difference, but I really enjoyed that too. The problem was that was the day we got there, and it was so hot. It was just so incredibly hot that, 103, 104 degrees, it was a short day for us. Plus we had some jet lag.
Was extremely hot and no place to rest, no shade. There wasn't a single tree. So it was very hot, but they did have the same water fountains throughout Pompeii city as well. And so, everyone used those, and wear a dark colored shirt and wet it.
Right.
That's my recommendation.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about Venice, because we're going to end up with about 20 minutes of Venice time. Tell us, not nearly enough, but let's take a first look at Venice. Walk us around Venice for a little bit, Annette. What's Venice like?
Venice was a really cool city, but it felt busier because the streets are pretty narrow because you have the canals everywhere, and no one wants to walk right up against the edge. So it was super busy. And I thought there would be more to do. And you go to the main square, and we walked around, and there's a lot of cathedrals, but we've been to Europe enough that we don't want to keep going to every cathedral. So we did wander around for the day, and it was fun to get lost. And I actually recommend going into the actual neighborhoods where people live and seeing their houses. And I really liked doing that. And you really do get lost in Venice. You think you get lost in Rome? Oh no, you must have a GPS.
Yeah, you can't figure it out. I mean, it just, the roads, you think you're going one way. And I don't know about you, but I've got a very good sense of direction, and we got lost over and over and over.
Same.
And it turned out I was going completely the wrong direction.
Same.
Yeah.
We took the city bus too a lot, like from our hotel, to the canal area. Of course, did the guy singing in the gondola, but it was a lot more people.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, you enjoyed the gondola ride.
Yeah. The guy sings and everything. Classic.
Annette, did you do a gondola ride?
We did not.
We did a gondola ride, and it sucked.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a guy, our gondolier was on the phone the entire time. He was having some dispute with somebody.
What?
And so he's talking, he didn't pay any attention to us the entire time. He just kept talking on the phone the whole time we were there. And then I think he got a little miffed when I really didn't tip him, because I was like, no, man. It wasn't phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there was a water taxi or something too, I remember.
Yeah, we did actually like the water taxi. We took it. I don't remember the cost. It was
Me neither.
cheap.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like €2.
Yeah, I think it was too.
And it had maybe 5 or 6 stops. And it was almost like a hop on, hop off bus.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, I forgot about that.
Me too.
Really liked the water taxi. It took you to different parts of Venice because we thought we could walk through, but you got lost and it wasn't direct. So water taxi was the way to go.
So you did St. Mark's Square. Let's talk about a couple of the things in St. Mark's Square. Did you go into the Duomo there and do that tour?
We did not. I don't know if it was closed that day, or I don't remember why we didn't do it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that tour with the Bridge of Sighs and going into the palace.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. You could also go up in the tower right in the middle of the square. Beautiful tower. the last day, we added on a day to our trip. We were on a tour, and the last day we went back. And at the end of the day, we're like, what the hell? Let's go up in the tower. And you know what was funny? It was way better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I was like, how dumb touristy thing to do. But you had such a beautiful view of the Grand Canal, and there was a gigantic cruise ship going up this canal, and it took every inch of that canal. It was impressive to see this huge cruise ship going right up through the middle of Venice. That was wild. The thing I found surprising about Venice was the price of lodging in Venice was absolutely. We had to stay so far away from Venice to find affordable lodgings that our hotel was on a city bus line. We took a city bus maybe for 35 or 40 minutes just to get to the area with the canals before we jumped on, got to the old part of town. I don't know. Annette, where did you
see? Was it called me too. Maestre?
I'm sorry?
Maestre? That was the name of the town we stayed in.
I don't even know the name of I felt like our hotel was this weird blocky building in the middle of a field, and it still cost $5 bajillion.
Ours was still cheap. We actually loved the town we stayed in. Yeah. It was the most modern city that we've ever seen in Europe.
That's cool. Yeah. And how far were you from actual Venice proper?
I would say the bus ride was about 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's great. What's the name of the town?
Maestre.
Well, that's a great thing to look into. That's fantastic.
Mestre.
Now, it sounds like Venice proper, okay, that was fine for you. But it also sounds like when we were writing back and forth ahead of time, you really liked heading out to some of the islands that people often miss when they got. I didn't go to any of the islands. Did you, Crystal, when you went to Venice, did you go to the islands?
No, just whatever was off that the water taxi.
Yeah. So tell us about going to the islands, Annette, and why would people go there?
So Venice, I didn't realize it was a series of islands. I don't know if it's like a province within Italy, but there are two main islands. I hope I'm saying these right. Murano and Burano. And they are known for, one is lace making, and the old original, lace makers, they all still live there and work there. And then the other one is glass blowing, and everywhere there's glass blowing factories, shops that sell it. And we loved it. I believe it was Burano was the glass blowing one. And that was also a canal city, and it wasn't nearly as busy. So we actually got to enjoy walking through the streets and the canals and everything like that, and all the little shops, and they weren't overly busy. So we loved that. And we actually went off the beaten path to find a lace shop that was a family owned lace shop. It was about 150 years it had been in the family, and I hope it was legitimate, and because the prices were a lot cheaper than on Main Street, it was less touristy, and they were just an honest business that wanted to sell their lace, and they export majority of their stuff.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Between the two islands, Murano with the blown glass and the lace and all the pretty buildings in Burano, which one would you go to first if you only had the chance to go to one?
If I only went to one, probably the glass blowing one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was neat to see all the colorful buildings. But I loved going into all the different shops and looking at all the trinkets and watching them actually blow the glass.
Yeah. Did you buy any?
We did buy some jewelry.
The glass blowing exhibition to me was just amazing. We didn't make it out there, but we, as part of our tour, I think they took us into their place right in Venice, and we watched a guy make a unicorn, and it was incredible how fast this glass unicorn came together. I mean, within 10 minutes, he goes from this ball to this absolute unicorn.
Wow. Yeah. Our tour was actually very cheap. It was about $25 a person. And I want to say it was about 4 hours, 5 hours long.
Oh, it's a good deal.
Yeah. And the tour boat, like we found it because there's like stands that advertise tours everywhere.
Yeah.
And in Europe, it's common. You take little day trips and tours, and it's right on the outside of the entrance to Venice City. There's a dock, and we went in there and we booked it.
Wow.
Neat.
That's cool. But part of that seems like serendipity. I really feel like if you book ahead, like I get this pit in my stomach every time you tell these stories, Annette.
I mean, we were in high season and there was plenty of places to stay, plenty of things to do. Tours were not overbooked. So I don't know, maybe in August when it's extra high season, you should plan ahead. But we had no instance where it was oversold.
But there were places that were closed because I went in August. It was my birthday, so it was like towards the third week, and because I wanted to go to a lot of the fabric places, and they were on holiday.
Yes.
So make sure you guys look out for that too if they're on holiday.
Yeah, and Europeans take their holidays serious.
Very serious.
Unlike, yep.
Absolutely. Now, we took a water taxi from the airport, actually, into Venice. So if you're staying in Venice proper, which we were with the tour that we were on, when, quote, somebody else was paying for it, even though we were paying for it, somebody else was paying for it. We stayed right there. But that water taxi saved a ton of time. Also getting back out to the airport made it very quick. That's only 1 or 2 times when I've taken a water taxi to the airport. You can also do that in Boston, by the way, right down on the main stretch in Boston, the main harbor area. There is a spot where you can store your luggage. And Cheryl and I did this one time. We stored our luggage and then we went and toured for the day because our flight wasn't until like 4:00 in the afternoon. And so we toured Boston at around, 1 p.m. We went back, claimed our luggage, jumped on this water taxi, and we're headed out to Logan International Airport across the water, which was really neat. It was really cool not being stuck in traffic and instead just getting right to the airport on a boat. It's kind of weird.
That is cool.
Yeah.
You'd have to time it because I know I landed. It was pretty late at night, so there was no possibility, I think, for a water taxi. But that would be cool. I'm going to make sure I look into that too.
Now, in Venice, did you go to the famous bridge?
We did go to the famous bridge.
Yes, called I got to make sure I get this right.
I don't know what it's called.
I think it's the Rialto Bridge.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Rialto. Yes. How did you like that? Is that worth spending time around?
I think it was. It was so beautiful. You see all these postcards and the images, and to see it yourself is so much better because pictures never do it justice. And it was a gorgeous view. And people were so respectful. They wouldn't clog up the center, and they kind of formed lines and let people take their pictures. It was actually really nice. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Crowded at the bottom of the steps, but once you're up there, it was okay. You got your moment.
We had the same experience.
Yeah, I remember the crowd.
Everybody was very polite. And just people in Venice in general were polite. And Rome people were polite as well.
I agree. Yeah. But in Venice especially, and I wonder if it's because everyone's moving so slow because there isn't even allowed bicycles. You can only walk in Venice or take the canal boats. So maybe the slow movement of the people relax you and you're just like, whatever.
A thing that we did that was fun that I think an 8-year-old might like as well was we went to one of the master mask makers for the Venetian masks, the very ornate masks. And we actually sat down with our family and we made masks. And then the master took our mask, which mine looked like a third grader did it. Like it was, my stick people don't look like stick people. I'm not the most artistic guy. And what was cool was when I got done, the master took it. We went back. You have to have, I think, a couple days to do this right. Cause I believe we went back the next day to pick it up. And oh my goodness, my mask looks so badass. I still have it hanging in the other room. because it looked, when the master got done with it, my mask is gorgeous. Of course, I didn't tell people that the master helped. I was just like, check out what I did.
He did it.
Like with my art project. So that's a fun family thing. I also found in Venice eating at the outdoor squares where there were just lots and lots of tables. I met so many people just talking to the people at the table next to me in Venice. I don't know why that didn't happen in Rome, because we sat outside several times in Rome. But in Venice, I don't know if it's because so many people aren't from there. Like nobody's from there. Very few people live in downtown Venice. So I remember meeting this drunk guy from Norway who was hilarious. And he was inviting us to come to Norway and stay at his house and visit with him. Of course, I don't know if the next day, Crystal, if he would have remembered me, if he even knew who I was.
What do you want?
Yeah.
We're not buying whatever you're selling. American.
But it was super fun. And I love, Annette, the way that you guys plan, though. The way you plan kind of forces you to talk to people. Like you've got to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, because you've got nothing but time and the ability to go find out what's what.
Yeah. We talk to people. We mostly talk to the other tourists, because I find if you talk to the people at the front desk in the hotels, they are told who to send you to, like the restaurants and that kind of thing. So I talk to, the table next door, and people strike up conversations with us too. And kids bridge that gap. If they have kids, the kids start to play, and then you end up talking to the table next door.
That's fantastic. I forgot one more thing. I got to circle back to Rome for a second, because there's probably some people screaming at their device. A big part of going to Rome is going to the Vatican, right? And I'm playing the new Indiana Jones video game, Crystal, and that starts at the Vatican.
No.
So that made me actually think about it. Did you go to the Vatican?
We did not.
You did not.
No.
You skipped that whole area.
I know, we skipped it. We saw it on a bus.
There you go.
We drove past it. Honestly,
that's good enough.
It felt way too overwhelming to go to the Vatican. You had to plan everything, and maybe planning gives me anxiety. I was like, no, I have to be there at a certain time. You wait in line for what seems like hours to get in. I didn't have any clothing to cover my shoulders. I would have had to buy something. I don't know. It just seemed I'm sure if I went, it would have been great, because people say go to the touristy things because they're touristy for a reason. They're the highlights of the cities, but we skipped it, and I don't regret it. So it is very structured. I mean, think of a Catholic Mass, everybody. Catholic Mass, very structured. Like you show up and you don't miss your time. You need to be there at a special time. But there was something really neat about being in the Sistine Chapel and actually seeing the fingers touching above your head. It was really, really a neat experience. But I don't know, I'm part of that too. For an 8-year-old, I don't know that I'd recommend it. I mean, it's very old and kind of slow and regimented. And but the big square out in front of St. Peter's is just a fun place to hang out, like a beautiful square. I bought a mug there. I actually bought a Ferrari mug, brought that home, and I wanted to buy a Pope bobblehead, but we didn't buy the Pope bobblehead. I don't know if it feels a little sacrilegious, to some degree. I don't know. Annette, let's talk about souvenirs, by the way. This is always Crystal's favorite part. Besides the little bit of jewelry, what else did you guys bring home? We bring home fridge magnets. We are minimalists, so we don't buy a whole lot of things. But we did buy one thing for our house. We bought hand-painted tiles in a shop from Rome, and they're numbers for our house.
Oh, cool.
Aww.
Yeah, so I took them home and I got them framed. And so it's the numbers of our house and these little like flowers.
Oh, that's pretty.
That's super.
That's a good idea.
All right, adventures. What do you have in the way of adventures in Italy? Tell us a story, either a little story, something that was great, something that was absolutely horrible, something just that happened on your trip. You'll have 5 minutes head to stackingadventures.com/mystory or stackingadventures.com/voicemail. Either one gets you there. It is time, Crystal.
Oh, yeah, for the reveal.
Yeah, how are we supposed to guess? This is something about the weather.
Sorry, because it's like I have it in my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it away. The clue's gonna be too easy.
I thought it could have been a weather app on my phone or something. So
even Annette kind of like this would have helped you when it was super hot.
Yep, and so Annette, yours was socks.
No, but that could be a clue of this gear would have helped you when you were so hot at the touristing.
Okay.
Out touristing.
A water bottle?
No.
A fan?
No.
A shaded
Just final
umbrella.
answer.
Well, I don't know.
I think we're at final answer.
All right,
Crystal,
ready?
what's our new addition to the gear of the day?
Hat.
Oh.
A
I have my Chicago Bears hat.
Chicago.
It's a hat. This is a super easy thing to take on trips. You want to protect your face for sun, especially if you don't have. Hi, we have Divorce on at saying hi, and then Alicia. I said her name wrong. This is easy to pack, and like instead of reapplying the sunblock too, because you'll be sweaty, just wear a hat. That way, you're making sure in case your shiny dome. I'm looking at you, Joe. You want it protected from the sun. So
Yeah, I have to wear a hat, especially those really hot days in Rome. I generally don't wear a hat, so I only wear them when we go on vacations, we go on trips.
Yeah.
But there's another reason why the hat comes in handy. I found this trip from some travel expert was talking about, especially if you're in coach. You know, and in coach, you don't have a ton of room on those transatlantic flights. So how do you make yourself feel comfortable to go to sleep? And there were two tricks. Trick number one is don't try to go to sleep. Tell yourself the fact, which is you get about 85% of the benefit just by closing your eyes and relaxing. Mm-hmm. And I found that when I tell myself I don't really care about sleep, I get 85% of the benefit just by closing my eyes and relaxing and just kind of meditate. Once I stopped freaking out about sleeping, guess what happened? I fell asleep.
You start snoring.
And then the second thing is you want to make the area around you feel more enclosed because you're much more likely to fall asleep. So take a hat and take the brim of the hat and put it right up against your nose so that your eyes, when you open up your eyes, it's almost like a mask. Mm-hmm. And that also helps you go to sleep. So I found that the hat is a great thing if you're economy.
That I didn't know. Yeah, that I didn't think about that. And also, if you're having a bad hair day, like this hat says, you can just slap this on and you're carefree. But I like the shielding of the eyes trick on the flight. I'm definitely going to do that.
You should send the bad hair day one for me because I have bad hair days all the time.
I'll send you the Bears one.
Speaking of that, I got to go get a haircut. Annette, thank you so much for sharing your trip with us.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Yay.
That was so fun. And thanks also to Leonidas, who is our special guest star on today's show. All right. Yes. She's Annette. I'm Joe.
And I'm Crystal.
All right.
I said it.
What? We'll see you next time, Adventures.
Bye.